What's up, guys? How can do 1940 here, and we are back with another episode of Let's Talk NHL. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the terrible Edmonton Oilers. They're absolutely horrible, and it's gotten to the point where it's just like, it's a joke. It's really they. I hate to say it, especially for you Edmonton fans, because I know you guys are probably just really upset. But you guys, the Edmonton Oilers, really are the joke of the NHL. It's come to that, and it's insane because at one point, this team was, the best team in the world. They were winning cup after cup after cup, and then, obviously that was a really long time ago. But this was a team that in 2006 made it to the Stanley Cup final and have not made it to the playoffs since then. It's been 8 years, and they've not made it back to the Stanley Cup. That's pretty insane to make it to the Stanley Cup final and then not make it to just not even the playoffs, not even the first round since then. But I just saw today that they fired their head coach, Dallas Eakins, after the loss last night to the New York Rangers. The Rangers shut them out 2-0. But yeah, I believe that's the Oilers' fifth coach now in 4 or 5 years, or 5 or 6 years that they've fired, or sixth coach in 5 years, one of those numbers, which is absolutely insane. They just can't do it, and they're being handed first overall pick after first overall pick over and over again, and they're still the worst team in the NHL. It's crazy. In the past 5 drafts, they've gotten 3 first overall picks and 3 firsts, a third, and a 4th overall pick. With those picks, they got Taylor Hall, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Nail Yakupov, all first overall. They got Leon Draisaitl in this year's draft, 3rd overall, and in 2013 they got Darnell Nurse, the defenseman, 4th overall. So, 5 top 4 picks, including 3 firsts, overall picks. I keep mixing up the word round and overall. In the last 5 years, and they're still really bad, and that amazes me. I cannot find a shootout right now. This is it's kind of disappointing, but and I looked at their stats, and the Edmonton Oilers, out of their entire team, they only have 3+ players, and they're not even their top players. They're like depth guys. They only have 3+ players in their entire team. I think like 2 players that are at a 0, and then everyone else is negative. I just cannot find a game right now. But yeah, that is absolutely insane. You look at their top point producer right now is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and he only has 19 points in 29 games, which is not very good. Jordan Eberle has 18 points in 30 games, and Taylor Hall has 18 points in 25 games, which Taylor Hall should be close to, or he should be right at or even above point per game. And he's not even up there. And Nail Yakupov, and I want to know from you Edmonton fans, who needs to go out the door? Because obviously somebody needs to be traded. One of these guys, like Nail Yakupov, Jordan Eberle, to me, one of those 2 guys, if not both of them, need to be traded. Obviously Teddy Purcell, Benoit Pouliot, those guys need to be moved because they're not, or David Perron. They're not really helping you guys out at all right now. Maybe Andrew Ferentz, even the captain. Give Taylor Hall the C. Something to change. Even the goaltender. I might not even go into a game this episode. I might just talk at this menu screen. It isn't just about the gameplay. It's about the commentary. But yeah, even their goaltending. Victor Foss and Ben Scrivens have been equally bad this season. They're both above a 3 goals against average. They both have terrible records. The Oilers, I'm not sure if I've said this yet, but they've won 1 out of their last 16 games. So they've lost 15 out of their last 16 games. That is unbelievable. It's so hard to do worse than that. It's really embarrassing. I really do feel bad for Edmonton fans because they're just, it's Canada. It's a hockey city, and I know there are tons of just diehard fans there in Edmonton, and their team is just a joke, and it's horrible. Even Leon Draisaitl, he's played close to 30 games, I believe. He's played almost every game this season, and he only has 7 points. And that's the thing with Edmonton, because they every single year they always get a top 3 pick, if not the first overall pick, and they play that player on the first line or the second line. They put them right in the NHL against the top players in the world, which I don't think is right. I mean, Leon Draisaitl, he has 7 points in like 30 games. You know, he's on pace for what, a total of, 16, 17 points at the end of the season. You're not helping his progression. You're hurting him, if anything. You know, he's not progressing. He's not getting better. He's not learning anything from being on a crappy Edmonton Oilers team, getting, a point in every, 7, 8 games. It's not helping him out at all. You're killing your rookies here. You can't just throw a bunch of rookies together and expect them to just click, and I don't know. They just I can't even think of what they need to do. It reminds me kind of like in GM mode in NHL 15 or any other NHL game, where you have the perfect team on paper. It looks fantastic, but your team just isn't winning. And, you look at the team on paper, and you look at the team you're going up against in the playoffs that just swept you, and their team is crap compared to yours, but somehow they got it done and you didn't. That kind of reminds me of this, Oh, we finally got into a game. That's cool. Alright, so I actually get to play a little bit while I'm talking. I'll just go ahead and pick the Edmonton Oilers. But, okay, it looks like this guy's using an odd team from an interesting league. Alright, so Teddy Purcell. Now we'll take out Teddy Purcell. Let's put in David Perron, Yakupov, Eberle. Let's get Taylor Hall in there. We'll go Taylor Hall. Yeah, it's fine. Let's put it, keep Scrivens in there. Now I lost my train of thought. But yeah, it's just, I don't know what they need to do. I can't say they need to be patient because, they haven't made the playoffs for 8 seasons. The rebuild should have happened. The rebuild should have been finished 3-4 years ago. It shouldn't have taken this long. I mean, guys like Alashemsky, Horkoff, Whitney, I mean, Habib Bolin, I mean, these guys were out the door years ago. Or Hemsky was only out the door last year. But, I mean, they've just, I don't know. And then they have to go out and sign a guy like Benoit Pouliot in free agency to all this money. Like, what did he sign? Like 4 years for $20 million? $5 million a year for Benoit Pouliot. He has like 10 points this season, just to like get under the league minimum salary cap or something. But I mean, they're just, I don't know what to say. I mean, they're just, I don't know. All I can say is try to make some trades. Try to trade for some veteran guys. Get a guy like Ryan Kessler. Get a guy like Patrice Bergeron. Not those players. I always say that. Like the teams that are struggling, I always like to say go after a player like Kessler or Bergeron just because they're experienced. They're good at both ends of the ice. They're just that perfect first or second line center. To be honest, that's what the Oilers need. They're fully youngsters. They need to trade some of these younger prospects like Yakupov or Eberle that just, you can't keep Eberle and Hall for the next 10 years. And that's another thing. How long are these guys going to want to stay in Edmonton? I mean, Taylor Hall, he's in the prime of his career right now. He's in his mid, to early 20s. He's a superstar in the NHL, but he's on a terrible team, and he only has 18 points this season. And it's not because he's a bad player. It's not because he's, not getting it done. It's because he's on a bad team. He's playing with Nugent Hopkins and Eberle, but the team around him is just not good enough. I mean, could you imagine if Eberle were on a team like Pittsburgh, or I don't know, Detroit with Pavel Datsyuk, or Dallas, or I don't know, somewhere with a superstar, playmaker to go alongside him. Man, this guy's sniping a top blocker on Ben Scrivens. But yeah, I mean, they just, I don't know, just there in Edmonton, they're just not getting it done. Oh, that's not getting, there you go, yeah, or Nugent Hopkins. Did that win it? Yes, it did. Alright, so, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. If you agree or disagree with anything, I would love to see your guys' opinions in the comments on what you think the Oilers should do in the future. And you Edmonton Oilers fans, what what changes do you guys have to make? Obviously, you just fired another coach in Dallas Eakins. But other than the coaching thing, what changes do you have to make? What players need to be traded away? What possible deals could happen? Um, yeah, just what are your guys' opinions? But if you did enjoy, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.